Get started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mycity Networking Friday event. I'm your co-host, Scott Harrell, here with Bob Friedenthal. Bob suggested a topic for this week in which we, instead of doing our usual intros, which you can do, quickly, instead to mention something that's bothering you or some pain point in your business or maybe even in life in general that you'd like to share with others who maybe in this group we could find a suggestion or two. So I'm going to turn it over to Bob. I'll let you start. You can take first crack at it.
Okay, well, look, I think it's safe to say that everything that's going on in the Middle East is quite bothersome to people. All the protests that are going on in colleges, uh, that's troubling. Agreed? But if you talk about business points, what I'm really curious about is what's bothering you. Is AI a help, or is it bothersome? Is it just cluttering up your stuff? Are they getting new business from, from AI? I think that's probably one of the best topics of all. How many of you are generating revenue as a result of artificial intelligence? Raise your hands. Excellent. 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 Okay, I didn't see a lot of raised hands, so why don't we have a little shout out for yes.
Yes.
AI rocks.
Yes.
AI rocks. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's a good one.
If you if we look on our toolbars at the bottom, there's an icon that says reactions.
Oh, right.
And one thing you can do is either give a thumbs up or a heart to indicate a favorable response. Or if you find something's amusing, there's a laugh icon too, like I just posted. Oh,
You can even celebrate.
that's at the end.
Okay, fair enough.
Those do fade after about 15 seconds. So.
Okay, good.
All right. All right. Okay. So on the topic of AI, I can't actually identify revenue from my use of AI, which has been pretty limited. But the most convenient thing I've found it for is to rewrite things like fast correspondence, like text messages, email messages, social media posts. I just write it out and then I ask AI to rewrite it for me, and it cleans it up and makes it more interesting. I found that to be very like a good time saver because I can bang things out quickly and have it turn out pretty well, I think. So anybody want to, Betty, how about you?
Okay. Well, I've been using AI to do things like create frameworks and outlines, lists of topics for content. And from there, I can refine that by dropping in my own insights, particularly about what that particular client needs and things like that. I've used it for generating characters for fiction and even outlining the basics of a plot, which then has to be refined as I'm working with the client. Do you want them to do this or not? That kind of thing. But I use AI in recording interviews with all my clients and a lot of times with my collaborators so that we can keep track of what we're doing. And I can use that to build chapters for ghostwriting or for any kind of content development.
Well, that sounds great. Which tool do you use?
I'm using the Fathom.video tool, which gives a summary and a transcript just at a click, and it also has a shareable link click. So you can, click on that, copy and paste it into whatever email if you want to share it with somebody, and they get the whole thing right there. That you can replay the video. It gives you kind of if you have the advanced feature, you get a more complete summary, but I just have the basic free one where I get a basic summary, and that's enough for the purposes that I have.
Yeah, I used to find them for some reason it doesn't work on all the Zooms, like doesn't work on this one.
Really?
Yeah.
It's always trying to
But-
push into this Zoom, and I always have to kick it out before it comes in because
Zoom's got its own version.
what's that?
Zoom has its
Zoom
own version.
AI.
If you look under AI companion at the bottom of the screen, one of them says summary. It does a pretty good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a friend here in
Okay.
town who's a former CFO of some Fortune 500 companies, and he's a current SCORE mentor and a CPA, and he's a business consultant. He went to a thing the other day and he listened to like 3 or 4 business plan pitches, or looked at 3 or 4 business plans. Every single one of them sounded alike, looked alike. They were different businesses, but they're all written by AI. And he said it just was, in a day and age when what everybody invests in is the jockey, not the horse. They want to believe you. He said, I didn't believe any of these plans.
Yeah.
None of them.
That's
But
really
just
that's
kind of
really
right off the
interesting.
bat.
I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that before, Burke. That's very interesting.
I'm not saying
You
it's
know?
just to cover my own ass. I'm just saying, yay for me. But on the other hand, it's like it just doesn't fly. But I agree with Scott. I mean, I've run some things through and said, my friend of mine's got some different thing. It's not ChatGPT, won't do it at all, but it says, rewrite this section in the voice of Guy Kawasaki. And it came out all smashing
Sure.
and great. It was really kind of good, but it was a little over the top. But it could do that.
It can do that. I have a client who is native French speaker, and she put her book in asking it to edit as a Native American. I mean, a native English speaker. And I said, since we last looked at this, you must have had a great editor. And she told me that. And I went, oh, this is awesome, because now it was a lot more clear and made it easier for her to get her point across, and changed my role into being proofing instead of trying to wrestle with all those linguistic issues. AI just said, oh, you're an American? Here, it sounds like this. So that was pretty cool.
If anybody
like
will
this,
have a job,
dude.
if anybody has a job going into the future with all this stuff, it's going to be an editor, because the AI sucks at putting out a perfectly clean document.
It
I
sure
get these
does.
emails, they all start out with, I hope this email finds you well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I got a
I just like, email finds me, cranky, and anyway, but it's it goes downhill from there.
Yeah,
Here's a quarter
eight
from
this
somebody
week,
here.
Bert. Yeah.
8 this week.
I got a good question for everybody. Is there
Only
anybody in this group that is not using AI?
Apparently not.
See, the tides have turned.
You can't hardly type anything without AI jumping in one way or another.
Yeah, it wants to change it.
Okay, anybody have,
I noticed on Facebook that there's Meta AI is now, if you use a search function, it'll add the AI background. So I haven't found it very useful so far, but it's there. I mean, you could probably type in a very specific query and get a very detailed response. Maybe not what you wanted, but it's
you
in
know,
there.
I kind of believe, and tell me if you think I'm wrong or not, but I think that, everybody jumped onto the AI, whether it's a free version or not, but like 90% of the people out there don't know how to use it. How many of you think that's true? Put it in the chat. Do me a favor.
How much of a percentage?
Pardon me?
What percentage?
90.
don't know?
Yeah, what percentage? I've said 90%.
Okay. Well, it depends to what level you mean, but
Well,
Yeah.
true,
Yeah.
so true. But in general, how many people are
When you say I mean, if you're talking about business people, I would think it's the other way around, Bob. I think that everybody's using AI, but when you start talking about the general population, like everybody out there,
totally different thing.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
the
I think
question,
most
was it-
business people, if you're not engaged or looking at working with AI or looking at it or applying it in some way, shape, or form, I think you got your head in the sand. You're not, you pretty much are compelled to be using AI right now as a professional.
Well, my belief is that even with business people, they might have might be subscribing to AI, but they really don't know how to use it. They don't know what questions to really ask. How many of
I'm not
you?
going to throw any stones at that glass house. It's all about prompts, right? It's like how, depending on what you're doing, it's all about the prompts.
It's
Yes,
all
sir.
about.
No, I disagree completely.
Oh, no.
100% disagree.
Really? Not about the
Yeah,
prompts?
So-
it has nothing to do with the prompts. It has to do with people not realizing what AI is capable of. So most people who are using it for maybe 1 or 2% of its ability to help them because they don't understand the value and the ability that AI has. As an example, I use an AI called Pi.ai. Amazingly enough, it's 100% free. It's a spoken word AI, so you actually have a conversation with it. I use it to help me with sales pitches because I say be a difficult consumer who needs my product but doesn't want it because they think it's too expensive or any number of reasons why they don't want it. Argue with me and make me a better salesperson. Sure, Maury, I'll do that for you. What's your product? And I have like an hour, 2 hour conversation with these people
And
who
that's
are
called
fake
spoken.
people.
Spoken.ai?
Basically, I'm sorry?
Is that called spoken.ai?
No, it's PI, like Paul Italy
Oh,
dot
okay.
AI.
Do us a
That's-
favor, put that in the chat room.
yeah, no problem. But the other thing is I've gotten business by, I'll put it in a sec, but by going after companies that I've never been to their website and they compliment me saying, you know, other people contact us wanting to do business with us and they don't even go to our website. You obviously have scoured our website top to bottom. And all I do is I actually show people how to do this in a 1 hour tutorial, how to actually have AI review a website, then create, 4 or 5 things that I can do to work with them. And then once I work with them, write me a letter now of introduction, write it from a friendly perspective, write it from a business perspective, blah, blah, blah. I edit everything AI gives me. Anyone who just uses what AI gives them, they have no idea what they're doing with AI. AI is to be treated like an assistant that doesn't get sick, that doesn't charge you an arm and a leg. If you do that, because when you tell an assistant what to do, you have to give the assistant all the details of what you want it to do, or him to do, or her to do. If you don't do that, you can't blame the assistant for not doing the job well. Well, if you treat AI just like a human assistant, it will do everything for you that a human assistant would do in those cases, in those use cases, but it'll do it in a matter of seconds or minutes as opposed to a matter of days, weeks, or months. And it's all a matter of what it's capable of. So yeah, prompts are important, but prompts are kind of like the brass ring. They're the shiny object that people get their head around and they're like a dog chasing their tail. Prompts aren't that hard to figure out. Again, just explain it like you would explain it to a human who doesn't know what they're doing, but they've been hired to help you with it. It's really a matter of understanding the full scope of what AI is capable of. And most people do it like you guys are telling me. Oh, I edit this, I translate that, I do this. That's all like using just the very surface ability of AI. You know, absolutely the surface ability of AI. I actually cloned my voice. In my work, I have to do voice recordings for various products that I create. And normally those take hours, days, even weeks between the recording to get it perfect. And then I have to edit it and I have to take out all those sounds and stuff like that and background noises. I went to a website called 11 Labs, which is the very best for voice to or text to voice. And you can pick any number of voices you want, just drop in text. It reads it like a human being reads it. You don't even know it's not a human. I cloned my voice using 10 hours of my own recorded material. I have been creating all of my products ever since I cloned my voice using that. I don't have to edit. It takes me like 2 minutes to do something that used to take me 2 weeks. And nobody knows. All my clients are saying, Maury, I don't know what you're doing, but you've tripled your editing game. You're a much better editor than you were in the beginning. They have no idea that I'm using AI to create my voice and to do it for me.
So that's called 11 Labs, you say?
Yeah, I'll put the link in for both Pi and 11 Labs now, and I'll shut up and let other people talk now too. So
Well, hey, Maury, I would like to request if you're willing to be a guest like a featured speaker in maybe sometime in May. Maybe
would
do a
love
screen
that,
share
yeah.
and walk us through a couple things. Would you be up
Sure.
for that?
Yeah, I've
I
kind
think
of, no one's an expert in AI, by the way. Anyone who calls themselves an expert in
Yeah.
AI is lying to you. The landscape changes too fast
That's
to
true.
be an expert.
Very true.
And these are
I think, Maury,
techies.
I think that's some great insight into what we're all going to be heading towards and learning about. Like when I listen to you, I think about that's the direction I want to go in, and I want to try and get better and better and learn more about how to use it that way. It's just new.
Well, that's the thing. And the trick is not trying to know everything and not trying to go after every single. Oh, by the way, the Pi works much better. Like you need to get a plugin to do the voice conversation on a browser, but Apple and Google has it in their actual stores for free. Unlimited conversation. I've actually had conversations with Pi for 3 hours talking about simulation theory, why we haven't found aliens on the planet openly yet, all kinds of things. I also have brainstorming sessions with Pi, by the way. So I suggest new product ideas, and Pi says, oh, you know what? That really wouldn't be good, but if you twisted it this way, it would be better. I mean, all kinds of things. I've even suggested Pi for veterans associations, for senior citizens who live alone. You wouldn't believe except for the fact that there's a few second pause while it kind of interprets what you said. The voice is so natural, you forget you're talking to an AI. And it can be very, very helpful because everybody who puts in any information, so don't put in anything personal like your social insurance number, or driver's license, or anything like that. Definitely not credit card information. But all of that gets compiled and continues to make Pi smarter. And the more you talk to Pi, the better it gets at knowing you and who you are and what you do. And it becomes like literally a really good friend. If you have a headache and you can't get rid of it, if you have a sore leg, whatever, it'll suggest little things you can try, but also go see a doctor. You know, it's very responsible. It doesn't seem to hallucinate all that much. It's really
Is it a paid subscription or is there a free
no
version?
Pi is absolutely 100% no cost.
That's the right price.
But it's perfect. It's the best voice AI I have come across, and I have looked high and low, and I continue to look. I never stop because it never ends, right? ChatGPT is great. You know, it is. But you know what? Perplexity is better if you want to do research. If you've
You're
never
right.
heard of
Perplexity. I've been using Claude, Claude, as
Yep.
AI, and it
Yeah,
seems to be
Claude
a
is
little
excellent.
bit more finesse than at least the free version of
They have
3.5.
different use models. Like they all have their strengths. They all score in AI scores because you can test an AI to see how good it is. Just come up with 5 questions, any simple type of question, and ask all of the AIs the same question with the same word, and you'll see the kind of answers they give, and you'll know, depending on your usage, which AI is going to be best for you. People are they're too like blinders, like horses with the blinders, right? They don't realize that AI,
Sure.
you know, I thought computers leveled the playing field back when home computers came into being, right? AI not only levels the playing field, but for those people who aren't closed-minded and don't just fall in love with one or two stupid little features that are really the most basic of features that AI allows one to do. Absolutely crazy how you can catapult in front of multi-million and even billion-dollar companies who are too slow on the uptick and don't realize the value. Keeping in mind one important thing: you are more important than the AI is. Your brain is still smarter than the AI is. Always go over everything AI gives you with a fine-tooth comb and give it your own accent, and make sure that you remember, don't just put in a prompt and then use what AI gives you, even if it sounds good, because then you're letting AI control you. And AI doesn't think, AI doesn't have passion, AI doesn't care. You have all of these things that make you better than AI. And it's when you incorporate those with the AI, that's when you get the magic.
Did I tell this group a story about
Thank you, Marie.
yeah, this is great stuff. Great stuff. Did I tell this group story about I call Mark Spitz, remember the swimmer?
Mhm.
Brother-in-law, because he's married to my brother-in-law. So his son did a recording using AI to sound just like Mark Spitz and look like Mark Spitz. And he sends it to me, and I'm watching this video. I'm going, oh, that's a great video. When did Mark do this? He says, he didn't do it. I used AI to create it. That's where we're going. So,
Yeah.
there's the pluses and minuses. And you're reading about the hacking that is going on because of artificial intelligence. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. Okay, I'm done.
/arrow.
Yeah, I saw a deep fake video of Warren Buffett promoting a Bitcoin or some other what do you call those currencies? Anyway, I know that. Yeah,
It's
but I've
crypto.
heard Warren Buffett say wouldn't even touch that stuff. It's just crypto I'm talking about. It's just, it's a great way to lose money, and he's not one on losing money.
So the next 6 months of the election are going to be dangerous. That's my
Very
big
dangerous.
back
Yeah.
to Bob's
Very
first
true.
question is that there's so many people that'll drink it hook, on, and sinker. And the deep fakes are going to be so prevalent that I'm thinking about moving to Barbados.
Yeah, might be a smart move.
I hate to break it to you, but Barbados isn't real. It's AI.
My style of AI.
Yeah, and there are 3 people in this room right now. They're AI simulations.
Right.
Hmm. But
You
we're
see
not
that
telling
commercial?
you.
How do I prove that I'm not a robot? Right?
Really.
We use I was going to say we use AI to actually capture leads. We have a program, not the CRM program that I've been talking about, but we have another program that actually uses machine learning and AI to learn like people's age, their hobbies, their demographics, their behaviors. And then what it does is it follows them around wherever they are on the internet and pushes ads out to whatever platform they're looking at and watching. And then it determines the different ad choices that they're doing, which ones are working. And then it pushes your budget towards those places that are working better. So with a combination of machine learning and AI, it's going out to people who are, looking at you. And then it follows them, called retargeting. I'm sure people have heard that term before, but it follows those people then on all their devices and pops up all the time.
You realize that's been happening forever, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the technology gets more
Oh,
efficient. That's all.
yeah,
It's been
we've been
happening for
using it
thousands
for
of years.
We've been using it over 9 years now. So,
To switch the subject a little bit, there's been, I asked people to do video testimonials. And as of last week, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people had done testimonials. Unfortunately, too many of them were done of me. But what happens is we will help push out the testimonial. So do a testimonial, contact me. I will help you to get more visibility. So here I'll tell you who did it. Betty, Moshe, Burke Franklin did a really nice one. Corey Northington, I don't think he's here today.
He's here.
He is? Okay, great. Scott Harrell.
Yeah, I did 3. Russell
did one several years ago. Great one. And then there was another guy named Jonathan Brock who also did an incredible testimonial. So unfortunately, too many of them were done of me. Please do a 1.5 minute testimonial. Get it to me. We'll figure out how to get it sent out. Okay? Does that sound fair? What do you think
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
value
learn.
testimonials
I'm
are?
gonna figure out a way to do it with AI. Make a video of myself using AI, and then I can clone it and repeat it.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
not? It seems like a perfect
let's, let's do
scenario.
let's do real ones for now.
I'll
And
never
you know,
tell.
and then give me somebody in the group, that you would like to do a testimonial on. Even give me a call so we can discuss, what you want to put in it. I think Betty did a great one of me, so I really appreciated that.
Mine was for Paul.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No
Yeah,
worries. Hey, Paul's book is going live on Amazon right now. I just checked. So I'm
Hey,
grabbing the link of Paul's book as we speak.
I love it.
Where is Paul? I don't see him.
I don't see him either.
Yeah, you're talking to the recording, so that's okay. Okay, let's get back to the topic, but I want to first give our featured guest speaker, Kurt Roskoff, his time. Kurt, are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay, let's see if I can give you the screen sharing. Let's see. See if you can do it now.
Yep,
All right,
got it.
then take it away.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm going to take you on a journey of inclusion, accessibility, and accommodation that erupted through my passion of water skiing. So here you see me at the site that we perform water ski shows 20 times a year. We're excited for our 40th year anniversary with our show team. You see that I'm involved with Project Diehard, the email address off to the left. Project Diehard is a veteran service organization with a concerted effort to attend to the issue of veteran suicide. And we do so by spreading hope to veterans. This phone number I have is a fun one. It's a Google Voice. I got the number 262-372-1SKI. Keep that water skiing theme going. And we are partnered with the Disability Channel, showcasing abilities television by and with people with disabilities and veterans. So folks, I'm here with you today because I am on a mission. It's a mission that came to me through water skiing. I had a chance to meet and become a friend with a community member who happens to have spastic cerebral palsy, a power wheelchair user, a self-advocate, public speaker, and can do DJ work and also web design. And he ended up joining our water ski club. And what happened was in 2013, I ended up coordinating for a friend of his that he met through physical therapy, another person with cerebral palsy, another power wheelchair user, to come out in our water ski show and to be a part of the show on a sit ski. And what happened that night, folks, is two of my friends that I love dearly, one being president of the club at the time, another one being another board member, came over to me with, it ended up being 20 reasons why this guy was not going to ski that night. This was something that disrupted my life enough. I did not sleep that night. When my wife and daughter woke up, I had a conversation with them, and that morning we became the family that started the Inclusion to Water Skiing campaign, the Everybody Skis program. And this is something I've come to apply to all parts of my life. So here we're back at the Disability Channel, showing you that setting us up with television, streaming, radio, online podcasts. Again, a very innovative business platform. I challenge you to show me another thing like this, getting people with disabilities and veterans involved in television production. So there's Jay Stoyan. He is the one person on the planet that I know of in this field of work. He's out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That's 1 in 8 billion, folks. So I showing an ambassador program that emerges from the Disability Channel. So when I network with you today, I ask, how can I be an ambassador of your business? In the center here, you see the World of Ability. That launched July 26, Sunday, July 26, 2020, the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And you see in that year, I was working on live streaming, still do, with a technology partner in the upper right. In the upper left here, you see the Compassionate Citizens podcast. In the upper center, you see me out with a group of adults with disabilities that go to the Capitol in Madison, Wisconsin, to share with legislators how their lawmaking affects Wisconsinites with disabilities. On the right-hand side, you see an award we got in what we do in water skiing, and you see that we branch off to basketball and all sports for inclusion. In the upper left, you see a fantastic Pulling Each Other Along program that actually has a lot to offer to all of us in business. And on the upper right, another technology partner. Now in the center here, you see Ability Fest USA. During COVID time, this thing has erupted into Global Ability Fest. And a feature part that is my favorite is the Sport Expo that has 60 partners that makes possible what we do, sharing how people with disabilities participate in all sports. In the right-hand side, you see our original Ability MKE Now radio show team. That show is still running 8 years later. And here on the lower left, you see I'm showing a program called Shakedown. Now, in the upper right, I'm doing the Shakedown with founder Jim Turk. He happens to be a gentleman with MS and started the Shakedown to keep him physically active during COVID. And in the upper center, you're seeing Action Track Chairs, empowering people with disabilities to get out into wilderness. And in the upper left, you see where we are empowering people with physical disabilities and all abilities to scale rock walls. There's me on the center left as motivational speaker. Lower left, me as the Riddler. Now on the lower right is adaptive water skiing. On the center right is wheelchair sports. Now, a magazine did a feature article on my family and me. And in the upper center on the right-hand panel, you see a paramobile unit. We were talking about golf. Picture a golfer that is lacking lower leg mobility. So paralysis in the lower leg, the hydraulics lift up that golfer, swinging a golf club. That is also a great device for going to museums and zoos and other things out in the community. Now, this is a fun slide, folks. Lots of fun here. And I know this crowd is going to love this. In that background is a Winnebago camper. And what's in that Winnebago camper? Some kegs of beer. And there's some tappers on there. So when this baby rolls in, you have an instant beer garden. Again, I'm out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, folks. So here we go. This is our veterans program with Adaptive Adventures. Adaptive Adventures serves all people with physical disabilities in 12 different renditions of sports and recreation. Here is U.S. Army veteran Harold Hack. We call him Hackster. He's on his seated wakeboard. Here's a networking program called the Happy Neighborhood Project, which is where I met Maury and other fantastic people. And I'm still a co-host, actually, Wednesdays at 2 Eastern with H&P Business to Business Networking. International Day of Happiness was declared to be by the United Nations March 20th. And with the Happy Neighborhood Project, we also do the event founded by Chief Happiness Officer Edwin, the Global Happiness Summit. It's the first Friday in October. Save the date. So my point to show you all of this right now is the bottom line. On the bottom line, this is what I'm outreaching, and I'm in-reaching to you looking at this. Each and every one of you, I want you to think about this. This is the big thought. This is the big deal. This is my purpose. Why I show this? Make your business for everybody and improve your bottom line.
That's beautiful. Kurt, thank you so much. When we had our one-on-one, you mentioned how it's a great ROI for businesses to invest in accommodating and employing and just being aware of the disabled, or the, I forget the politically correct term that's best for it, the specially abled people. And, you know, your examples are just tremendous because it takes a lot. There's a lot of time commitments and there's a lot of heart in it. But you did also mention how it helps business. So can you touch on that for just a moment?
Yeah, so I used to be an insurance agent, folks. And when I got licensed to be an insurance agent, they taught me the history of insurance. Do we know that when we go back, when we read sacred scriptures and we hear these stories of fishermen from eons ago, the issue was they went out to go fishing and they didn't always come back, and the effect it had on families. Now, that's just a little fun little segue here in this business environment. But my point about fishing, imagine being in business to catch fish. And then you go out there to take a look at how things are going, and you take a look at the net that your crew is using. And all of a sudden you see this big gaping hole in the net that they've been using for a long, long time. And you're like, wow, they've been losing 1 out of 4 fish bringing up that net. That's my proposal, folks, is that's what's happening around the world. When I look at 6 lanes of what keeps this world running in terms of face spaces, service spaces, lifelong learning, civic capacity, business, and all the fun things we do in life, I go back to business to say business is the worst at the business of inclusion, accessibility, and accommodation. Now, people will say, well, there's a lot of wonderful examples. There are. So I don't want to ruin the championship accomplishments going on out there, but my metrics show that it's only at 3% of where I think it should be. That means I'm here to say quantum leap time, folks. I'm driving a future where we're going to be 33 times greater in the business community in the field of inclusion, accessibility, accommodations, inclusive hiring, web content accessibility guidelines, global public inclusive infrastructure, universal design. It's all about culture, custom, and genetic memory. It's how we show up in business, and all the other parts of our life show up right here with mycity.com, with this Zoom mastermind. The influences from all these other things when we're not doing our business, when we say we work to live, what is the living we do thanks to the work that we do? And then how does it come to be that people with disabilities are there? My question is, what have you done? What are you doing now? And what will you be doing today with a professional with a disability? When we picture the president of a company, are we including the realm that 1 out of 4 times it really should be a professional with a disability? Now, there's invisible disabilities. So that's the big point people make right out of the gate. You could be working with somebody with a disability and you don't know it. But I think we're aware when I say it's a lot less than it needs to be. I would be shocked if any of you on the screen disagree.
Well, Kurt, I would add that from a human resources standpoint, we are in what's called a sandemic. There aren't enough people to do the work that needs to be done. That's why there's so much effort in II and other things. And you made an interesting statement there. Do you know if anybody on this call is in a wheelchair? No. The hiring managers need to think out of the box, think anybody, and formerly people who could not commute, could not make it to the office without great expense, great effort, can now be incredibly productive employees. And they're some of the best employees you can find, both if they have, you know, an illness related or an injury related or even a genetic related disability. They can work seamlessly remotely. And that's never been the case until 4 years ago.
Right. So I got another question. Are there any veterans here? Not one, except for me. I'm a veteran. I got out of the service like 50 years ago. And my daughter has a doctorate in psychology, and she worked for the VA in Redlands, California. She said it was the hardest job that she's ever had. Why? Because of the amount of suicides. You know, there's something like 25 plus suicides a day by veterans, and they're not always the young people. A lot of them are the people that went into retirement, idle hands, devil's workshop. They start going to the VA because they can't deal with it. And then that's when the suicides start happening. 25 veterans a day commit suicide. And a lot of veterans will tell you it's a lot more. There's 16 million veterans in this country. So, you know what? And I run a veterans group. I run it after this meeting. I used to run a veterans group before. I had huge attendance to it. I used to run the Christmas parties in West LA for the veterans, just simply because I was doing a payback. But you know what? I think we've forgotten the veterans. And there's just a lot of people going into the service still. So support a veteran. Be helpful. Look at veterans groups to do payback. Maury, you were talking about, I think you were talking about veterans, right?
Yeah, he stepped away for a second.
Oh, okay. So anyway, long story short, it's you know, it's a frustrating subject for me because of what 16 million veterans, they helped our country. They supported our country. And then they get out and we ignore them. That's sad. Really sad.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Russell, just out of interest, are there special recruiting staff? I haven't come across them, but for veterans, are there special recruiting, training and recruiters that are focused on veterans or people with disabilities for hiring that you work with?
There's some advocacy groups like the VA, groups like Kurt belongs to, but I haven't found a recruiting firm that says, "Hey, I'm going to reach out to the disadvantaged, disabled veteran community and bring you people." Well, I've seen it in the procurement space, but not in the hiring space. I think it's a good niche somebody could develop.
Hey, Russell, does anything fall under like the WOTC tax credits, the work opportunity tax credits for disabled veterans, or just veterans as a umbrella as a whole? Because I know they have, depending on their tiers, it would be a different amount of credit.
Yeah, WOTC is more specific. It could apply because it's more general in terms of you have a job, you need training, you want the job, and the government will pay a portion of your wages during a training period. But I'm sure it could apply to those situations.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
So this is a great eye opener, Kurt. Can I ask, what would you like folks here to do as a follow-up, or can you point us in terms of your resources where people can copy and paste your info? If you want to take a moment to, what's biggest thing we can do individually or as a part of this group?
Well, like I said, it's personal introspection in the 6 parts of your life. Again, your faith life. When you practice your faith, look around, get a sense, learn who you're congregating with. Are people with disabilities finding their way to your space the way they'd like? And if not, you make a decision if you want to be a part of helping that and spring that within that group. When you're part of your service endeavors, whether it's Lions, Kiwanis, Rotary, Optimist Club, whatever your favorite group is, whatever you're a member of, take a sense. Is that group doing what it could to have members with disabilities? When we think of Rotarians, are we thinking of Rotarians with disabilities? You know, every step you take through your day, there's an opportunity to heighten your inclusion. And this is my journey. I'm 52 years old, and it took till I was getting into my 40s before I made myself available in the disability community. And then I got a sense of the vacuum, the exclusion that is alive and well, and that I'm a part of. I represent exclusion, folks. When I got to the Happy Neighborhood Project, Happy Business Networking, the happiest place in the world for business people, I got with Chief Happiness Officer Edwin, and I'm like, Edwin, I'm in your space, and the one thing that's missing is how are we going to devote spreading happiness to people with disabilities? And his reaction was not about if, it's just tell me how to do it, like you're asking, you know, and it was H&P ability. So whatever you do, you can attach the moniker of ability, Thrive Ability. Let's highlight how the corporation of Thrive creates accessibility through its CRM tools. It's there, but are we aware? And then when you're aware, you can grow it. And that's what I did with water skiing. We more than sextuple the access to the sport of water skiing in 6 years because I went out there to find the people who wanted to do it. And when they showed up, I'm like, how do you want to do it? And I helped them do it their way. And when I got 12 people together, they're telling me, Kurt, we need to do a train the trainer program. To me, that's when you've arrived. When I can name each of your names and I can say, wow, you have done a training for how you professionally replicate this to be ideal by the terms of people with professionals with disabilities. And we're creating this channeling, these pathways, these unbiased pathways to the leading spots in our companies and corporations and our professional organizations. When we're at the table, that's what had to go on in our government. You know, I was taught how a few decades ago, we weren't seeing people with disabilities making decisions on how disability services were going to be deployed by our government. It became law to say, oh, it's mandated that a person with a disability is on these councils and so forth. In business, we need to start to get that kind of culture going here. So if you can play a role in that, that's huge. But the biggest thing is pay attention. When there's someone with a disability, ask them if they would teach you how to be more professionally accomplished and to be more effective, to be receptive to the skills and abilities of someone with a disability. So we're looking at their abilities and not holding back from their disability. There's always a way to include people with disabilities here. And in terms of this group, what if we made it a goal by the end of this year, we'd have 5 people who are masters of ability on this screen and help us in 2025 to say, Mycity.com, this mastermind group, is one of these exemplary groups about inclusion, accommodation, web content, accessibility guidelines, all this stuff. You can go to your ADA centers and say, hey, I'm a professional. I want to learn from the Americans with Disabilities Act how I can do my business better for people in my marketplace and how I can get people with disabilities to be a leading part of my team. And the ADA centers can do. There's independent living centers. That's what I did. I went to events at the independent living centers 10 years ago, and I signed up for this. That's how I got into the celebration of the Americans with Disabilities Act, because I went to the independent living center and I got on the planning committee to do the thing. And that's what started Ability Fest.
My dad was actually
I ran one of the events called Ability Fest.
Yeah, my dad was actually on the president's commission for that back in the late 60s. So it's something I've been attuned to for a long time.
Yeah, so there's no shortage of ideas. So it's a personal thing. You know, are you looking to be open to that? I wanted to bring people with disabilities in the water skiing. So that's what drove my action to go get it, to go get people with disabilities and find out when I get a boat, a rope, and skis in the water, how does it need to work that it's going to be something that keeps going? And it has to be under their terms. So if you open up that space within yourself to say, I want to learn what those terms are, 1 in 4 people is a person with a disability. So they're all around you. It's a life experience of that side mirror. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. That's what happened for me coming out of my 30s into my 40s, so the last dozen years, because I just decided to go for it, to go get it. And it's kind of like, be careful what you ask for. I didn't realize what I was plunging into. And I kept learning more and more. And it was a transformational process that I'm still at the beginnings of. It's like such a huge gaping hole, and was in my life and still is. I have a hunger to keep filling this and to bring this to the table like I am right now. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
as you're talking, it's like I'm thinking in the entire time, I've never ever heard any other business broker presenter talk about businesses that would be suitable for disabled persons, or for the, like, as you're talking about it, that's something that would be almost entirely new, to look at what, not only what businesses are suitable, but what abilities could be brought to various businesses and how that would match up. I've never heard anybody even discuss it, let alone think about it. So that's that's got me thinking. I'll put that on my radar. How could that be interfaced? That, I don't think there is an interface right now.
Yeah, and where we need to go, Phil, is we need to get to a day where every gosh darn business is suitable for people with disability. I get your point that the status quo that I'm speaking to, it's not there right now. But if we take your business, we can talk about each and every one of your businesses and talk about within this fiscal year, you can turn a corner that your business is very appropriate for every single person with a disability. There's no reason to exclude any one person from your business.
I can tell you right now, as an example, all right, and I know we're running out of time here, with precision machine shops in certain industries right now, programmers, right? Programmers, people that can do the programming in any way, shape, or form. Huge shortage, very difficult. A lot of there's a lot of demand, not enough talent and people. And I'm just saying, I mean, there you go. Here's a need. There's obviously how many people have those abilities, let's say disabilities, or have those abilities, where you could put an interface, you can bring some of that talent together. Anyway, I'm sure you could come up with 1,000 examples.
That's true. You're right on the right target. That's a home run. Phil, thank you for saying it. That's a home run to hear you say what you just said. Home run.
Well, thanks for helping everyone's awareness to be up leveled, and just, I love your passion, Kurt. You're a really great guy, and I'm so glad you're part of our group, and I really appreciate what you brought to us. Thank you.
Yep.
You're
Anybody
welcome.
else have a
Gonna
quick
do
comment
my
before we head out?
testimony on-
Now's a good time. Kevin?
Gonna do my testimony on Kurt. Got a chance to talk with him and Emily, and I'm really excited about, what he was able to share with us today. I got that kind of personal attention when the three of us spent the time together. And I'll tell you, there are opportunities for us to work collaboratively in this unit to then showcase this community in a vehicle here that would then further promote mycity.com. So bravo, everybody. I've got to jump for my team meeting, but hats off to you, Kurt. All right. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Great meeting, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, everybody, especially Kurt, Emily.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Ready.
Bob, thanks for what you do with veterans too. I don't acknowledge that enough, but I think it's really,
Appreciate it.
we got a lot of heart in this group.
Yeah. No, it's a good group. Good group.
Yeah.
Take it to the next level.
Not only do women veterans suffer quite a bit from suicide rates, but many of them are food insecure and or are discriminated against because of PTSD and so on. And what you said earlier, Kurt, speaks directly to me. One of my grandsons has been disabled and is an absolute genius. He's gotten surgeries where he's now able to walk correctly for the first time in his life. He's 16. And so, we need to think about people and their true needs as we're looking at what to do in our businesses. You would be really dumb if you left Finn out of the picture. Let me tell you, he's just one of the smartest people there is. So thank you, Kurt. I really appreciate it. It was cool to be on that broadcast the other day with Alan, and let's keep doing good things.
This is great stuff because my son got his degree in special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And for graduation, went to U of A. For graduation, instead of going to the graduation, he said, come and visit all the people that I'm working with. And they were all special needs people.
Mhm.
And it was so heart-wrenching to be there. That when he told them he was leaving because he had graduated, they all broke down and started crying. So that's kind of his passion. He now works at Mayo Clinic, but it's God, what you take with you,
Yeah. And we have to include everybody. I mean, I live in a household with 5 people, 3 of whom have the wheelchair thing for the car, right? And we all show up for each other and help each other. And you have to respect where people are at and meet them there. Don't expect everybody to be on the same page because
go to them. Yeah.
right, the has they're neurodivergent in some way. Be with them. Don't worry about it. Just be with them. Don't think you're going to get it right. We never do. We're just people.
Well, Valerie.
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you. Kurt.
All right, gang.
Thanks,
Good
Scott.
guys.
Holy,
Appreciate
and
you
thanks,
all.
Eddie,
Thank you.
right? Bye.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
You as well.
All
Thanks.
right, guys. I got a blaze too, but excellent job, Kurt. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. My
Bob,
pleasure.
talk to you later.
You got a deal.
All right, man.
All right.
Bye, Emily.